We're talking to Madaki Ameh, who is going to be speaking to us on matters arising with regards petroleum subsidy. A good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Ameh.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Ameh, if you can hear me, what are your thoughts on ongoing conversations about removal of petroleum subsidy? Do you think that it should stay or it should go?
Well, my position has always been that the subsidy regime as we currently have it is not sustainable and it's not realistic. You know, the Nigerian public gets to pay more for petroleum products, not necessarily because the subsidy is there, but because, you know, we are running a very inefficient template, you know, for pricing petroleum products in Nigeria. And that's why, you know, I believe that we need to stop the payment of subsidy, but we are not going to be removing it because ideally, you know, there is no subsidy. If we run the economics of the oil and gas sector downstream properly, you will discover that as currently constituted, there is no subsidy of there's no petroleum subsidy at all. Not for petrol, not for diesel, not for kerosene, not for jet A1. You know, and I can demonstrate very clearly, you know, that using the right principles of petroleum economics, you know, and the right templates, we can deliver, even as of today, all petroleum products, diesel, PMS, jet A1, DPK. We can deliver all of these products at 17 naira per liter. And, you know, and on 17 naira per liter, the government for the first time will be making a profit of 10 naira per liter.
But how realistic, Mr. Ameh, sorry to come in here, but how realistic will that be? You know, because the same way you look at the statistics and the same way you look at, you know, issues on ground, others have looked at it that way and feel that removing the subsidy at this time will have more negatives than positives.
No, because they're not thinking clearly and because they're not applying the right principles. You know, we are suffering a current regime of dwindling oil prices in the international market. In fact, recent predictions from Goldman Sachs indicate that in the next 1 to 2 months, we're going to see a $20 per barrel oil. This is the time for us to think outside the box. This is the time for us to engineer our downstream sector in a way that properly deregulates that sector. The only way we can do it is to change our thinking around the barrel and change our thinking around the pricing of a liter. That's what I offer. And I can assure you that using data the most recent data obtainable from Wood Mackenzie, which is the foremost modeling agency worldwide, that everybody relies on their data. I can assure you that, you know, we can deliver petroleum products at 17 naira per liter for bringing down diesel, for instance, you know, from 150 or 160 naira that it is currently to 70 naira, bringing down petrol from 87 naira to 70 naira, bringing down jet A1, which is the most expensive in the West African sub-region for Nigeria, you know, to 70 naira, and we'll keep kerosene at 50 naira per liter. And on every liter sold for 70 naira and 50 naira per liter, the country will, for the first time ever, make a margin of at least 10 naira per liter.
But then, sorry to cut you here, Mr. Ameh, but if you look at the recent release of the August inflation data by the National Bureau of Statistics, it shows that fuel consumption was one of the major contributors to the increase that we saw, albeit marginally, to the August inflation data. Now, there's been this debate, for instance, that the removal of subsidy will reduce inflationary pressure. Do you think so?
Well,
going back the data that we actually got from the National Bureau of Statistics.
Yes, like I told you, you know, if we're not just removing subsidy while keeping the current thinking around the liter, we will be able to achieve the objective that we're looking at. You know, but most Nigerians are apprehensive about removal of petroleum subsidy because even current thinking at the top in NNPC seems to suggest that a removal of subsidy immediately translates to an increase in pump price of petrol. But I can tell you very, very clearly, without any fear of contradiction, that applying the model that I have, you know, and which I have tested both locally and internationally with the top consultants in the industry, and all of them have come to terms with the fact that the thinking is completely novel. we will not be removing subsidy. We will just be stopping payment of subsidy money to some people who do next to nothing in the industry, just by changing the thinking around the barrel and around the liter. What this will do, as you know, is that it will bring back almost 1.8 to 2 trillion naira that we currently waste, in my view, paying for petroleum subsidy, for subsidy of petrol alone, and that's almost, it's almost half of the national budget, or a little, under half of the national budget. The implications are huge. And then after that, what it also does is that it enables us to refine. And, this template is completely insensitive to whether we refine locally or we refine in contracted refineries abroad. It is also insensitive to OPEC quota. It's insensitive to fluctuations in the pump price of petrol.
Okay, Mr. Ameh, hold on to your thoughts. Hold on to your thoughts. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and continue this conversation.